Welcome by Wisseloord Studios Reinvented. We're going to talk about the Wisseloord Studios here in Hilversum, founded in 1978, and ever since one of the top studios in the world where people like the Police, Elton John, Rolling Stones, and all the Dutch major artists have recorded. 20 years ago, the Dutch music industry made a big change thanks to the decline in physical sales and the uprise of streaming music. It also was a big change for Wisseloord Studios, and we're going to talk about that with the man in charge nowadays. That's Malik Berrabah. Welcome, Malik.
No, thank you.
Could you give a short introduction of yourself, please?
Well, I'm a music producer. I come from France, and I live in Holland since a couple of years. And I was first a client in Wisseloord, and a couple of years ago, the team working in the studio asked me if I wanted to help them to transform the company. And that's when I grew into Wisseloord, and then I became a manager, and then at some point co-owner. Mm-hmm.
How did you first end up in Wisseloord? Why did you come to the studio as a Frenchman, as a French producer and musician?
Well, I came to Holland to study. I took 1 year sabbatical, so I've been producing music in France and writing songs for all kinds of people for many years. And at some point I thought, okay, I will take it a bit easy, and I went to study in the conservatory of Bonaire. Mm-hmm. And after 1 year sabbatical, it became 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I started to build my life in the country. And at some point I needed to do a production with a couple of French artists. So I went to the studio as a client, and I booked the place. Mm-hmm. And I really fell in love with the location. The gear was great. The service was really good. But I could really see that there were some opportunities to work there and transform the company.
What was your first impression of Wisseloord Studios?
Well, it was a great recording facility, but it was stuck in the 90s as just being a studio, and mm-hmm. They were really good technicians, but the core of it on the creative side was a bit lacking, in my opinion.
Yeah. What it changed over the years as well. It went bankrupt.
Yeah.
But it's buzzing now more than ever. How did you get involved with the studio itself? Not as a client. Yeah. But as someone who works there?
At the start, they started to hire me to do a couple of productions, and then the team of that time introduced me to the owners during those years, mm-hmm. who asked me what I was thinking about the company, and I had quite some ideas on how to try to improve the place, and that's what then they gave me the green light to implement it. Mm-hmm. And then I became creative director first, and then I became general manager and owner.
Yeah, the music industry has changed a lot over the years. The last 20 years, a big change has been the decline of physical sales of CDs. Mm. First MP3 started coming up, then streaming. How did it reflect in the use of the studios? What did it mean for Wisseloord?
I don't know if it's so much just the changes of the industry that had the impact on the studio, or more the technology itself, because now there's a lot of music which is produced in a laptop. Mm-hmm. So the need for big commercial facilities is not that big anymore. But there is still a lot that can be done by connecting people together and helping with sharing expertise, yeah. and building content. And that's what I've been implementing more than the studio itself.
The internet has been hailed as a big solution for people to get in touch, mm-hmm. musicians as well. Yeah. Yet people feel the need to come to Wisseloord nowadays. Yeah. What did you change at Wisseloord that makes it buzzing again?
Well, I think the first step it was really to. I know quite a lot of people in the industry, and then you connect, and then you invite each other, and then you do some projects together, and then slowly it reanimated like this by bringing friends in and connecting people. And then those people that you connect, they bring their friends, and they bring their colleagues, and then slowly it became really a hub.
It becomes a hub. Yeah. How do you tie those strings together at the studio? How does Wisseloord facilitate this?
Well, on the studio side, we deliver really high-level service.
Mm-hmm.
So we have great gear and really good facilities. But the people that work there, we have some international engineers and assistants, and always some interns. There's some people are living in the studio 24/7, so we can be on like any time. So on the studio side, this is what makes the main difference. But next to this, we've been also focusing on creating different activities, like publishing content or creating content, and also doing education and all kinds of different lines.
So it's not only a place where you can record or mix music or meet other creatives, but you diverse your activities.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This was the birth of the House of Music, because that's why you rebranded yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so the House of Music, there are a few lines connected to it. First of all, it's a meeting point for all the students from the conservatories. So we have some agreements with the Amsterdam Conservatory, Haarlem, Utrecht, Leeuwarden, Tilburg, all the main schools. And they send all their students to Wiselord. We connect them together. And the best songs that are written, we publish and we pitch it to some artists, and we help the artists to release their music. So that's the production side connected to the studio.
So you distribute the music as well, and
publish it in partnership with BMG.
With BMG, yeah. So that's a lot of opportunities that you create for the people who come to the studios and who work there as well.
Yeah.
How does this operate? Do you put students together? Do you go to a conservatory in Haarlem or in Amsterdam and say, hey, this student can come over to our studios and work with this producer? Or
it's actually the schools who choose the students, and they give us a list, and we have a datum pricker. It's quite simple, and the students fill in the dates when they're available, and together we have a creative team inside the studio, and we make some groups that we believe are matching style-wise. Sometimes we also try to create some accidents to see what's going to happen between the different styles. And there's some really exciting music that's being created in those sessions. Yeah. So we started now 2 years ago. We have a catalog done more than 450 songs.
450 songs in 2 years.
Yeah, and from which some are actually seriously really cool. Yeah. And we had some nice placements into national movies, some TV commercials, top lines to DJs. So the songs are really living by themselves now.
Yeah, so you help them to get the songs out there and to help the musicians get their products, their songs to the world out there. Yes. What kind of placements did you achieve for them? In what way did you have success for them?
What I just said. So we had one track in the national movie, some top lines to DJs. There are some labels that are reaching out more and more. It's really becoming a thing that people know that they can come to shop for songs and for top lines. And then of course there's a lot of artists passing by Wiselord. Almost everybody's coming at some point in. It can be for a video clip or for a TV show, for recording, and so the connection to the artist is quite natural.
Yeah, the appeal of the studios that it has gathered over the 40 years, 50 years, 42 years since it was founded has still not diminished.
Yeah, there was a few years where it was a bit less happening, but the last few years I'm quite happy that it's becoming alive again.
How does the House of Music help different brands with communicating their style, their image, sound-wise?
In all those talents, so now in the songwriters, producers, is more than 200 people that do sessions. I lose a bit count. So there's a lot of artists that have some fan base. There's a couple of influencers, including some people who come from different countries. Like there's one artist that we are developing at the moment from Dubai. She has 700,000 followers, for example. Those are people that have quite some exposure.
So they make music as well?
Yeah. So a lot of those people who are influencers, they also want to sing or write songs and want to grow their musical career. And by being in the studio, they are tagging the whole time that they are there writing songs, doing stuff. And it's also a lot of people passing by and posting about their sessions in the studio. So it's quite some visibility. And
so you combine both the artists and promotion.
Yeah, well, the artists do it themselves. So there were a few brands that approached us to see if we could help to connect them with an artist. Also, some movies. Yeah.
Which brands have you worked with recently?
Let me think about this. So, Andersor, Hema, Basic Fit. Those are the latest
big brands. Yeah. You have done something else as well. You started an academy.
Yes.
At Wisseloord.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
3 weeks ago. Yeah. We've got a little video that you made of what's happening there. Let's have a look.
Okay.
Why did you start this academy? Because there's already so many conservatories in Amsterdam and in Rotterdam and in Enschede, Den Haag, like you.
Well, it happened quite generically, like by itself. First of all, we get a lot of students from conservatories who do the writing sessions, and also a lot of people who ask to do internship. I get like 15 emails per week of people who finish conservatory and who would like to do internship in the studios. And a lot of times when they arrive from such an academic institution, they learn to write great songs or to engineer, produce, depends what they do. But a lot of times they don't have such a clear idea on how the real world is working, and they didn't make so many connections with the industry. And that kind of shocked me, and also myself. Like, I have 3 masters from conservatory, and the reason why I kept studying is because I had no clue how I was going to start to make a living. So then I did one more school, and there's really huge gap between your study time and the real world, and how you're going to make a living at the end of the month. And so I've been really helping students like this for a couple of years. And then I thought, how could we maybe try to make this in a more structural way? And quite simply, like all the labels, publishers, a lot of bookers, everybody is passing by the studios at some point. And then I asked some people at the coffee machine, hey, would you like to give a couple of lessons? Yeah, great. And if you want to teach some production or some songwriters who have hits, work in the studio, would you like to give a couple of classes? So to build the school, it was quite easy. And then we opened the doors, and
people came in.
Well, we were surprised to see, okay, who is going to come, and then it became really quite a big success. So now for the first year, we have 35 students.
35,
quite some international. And I think we can upscale next year to 60 and 100 students in 2 years.
Yeah, so you got the cream of the crop of music students can also work in the House of Music. The people who study at the academy also can join the writing sessions of the House of Music. So they also meet the students from conservatory. There are some people who study at the academy who also finish conservatory. So it's really diverse. Yeah, let's talk about talent after a brief break. Then we talk with Erroll Antonie, the head of A&R of BMG. Hi, Erroll. Welcome.
Thank you.
Could you please introduce yourself?
Well, as you said, I'm Erroll Antonie, head of A&R BMG. BMG is a publisher, so in music publishing. And before that, I was A&Ring for the labels on the master side.
What? How do you spot new talent as a head of A&R?
It comes in many different forms and ways. I think keep your ear on the ground, literally, and it comes through. It can be through SoundCloud, it can be through TikTok, can be online, can be going to shows. However, that's out of the equation right now, sadly. But there's so many ways. You get tipped off by managers, sometimes by even journalists. It comes in many forms. Yeah.
What are you looking for when you look for new talent?
I look for both the talent. That's one thing. But I think it's important that you look at the whole scope around this talent. You know, do they understand business? Have this ability to be an entrepreneur as well? Do they have a different set of skills next to their talent? Or do they have the mindset to capitalize on their talent actually? And we can help them with that, obviously, because the publisher, that's what you're interested in. But yeah, it's something that needs to be in check as well.
And how does Wisseloord help you with finding new talent?
It helps him because literally that's your ear to the ground, you know. And I think in Wisseloord, what I love about the place is that since a couple of years since Malik took over, and I think really it's about the people within an organization, or especially at Wisseloord, it's about the people. And being Wisseloord, being as a studio, it should be a safe ground, you know, for artists. They go into the studio, so it's safe, where we can. There's no, you can't do this because you're creating, you know.
It's like a playground.
Yeah, exactly. And at the same time, they feel safe. Then, yeah, if you want us to our feedback, etc., then we're there as well.
Yeah. How does Wisseloord differ from other studios?
I think because of the, obviously now the Academy is in there as well. But I think what's nice, I think what it really is, again, it's the people.
It's the people.
It's the people.
Yeah.
I really think so. Especially with the background, like Malik now at the helm at Wisseloord. He has a producer, as a musician. He knows. I always refer to it. He knows what it smells like in a rehearsal room with the band. You know. And if you have this sort of sense, and you know what's in their mind, what they want to do, what they mean by what they're saying.
He speaks their language.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Yeah. And he's a musician himself, so that might help. Yeah, understandable. When you already mentioned the Academy, what do you need from artists to work with them?
Well, again, I need that.
Well, I'm not saying music-wise. I mean, like business savviness.
Business savviness in general, I think. Yeah. But I think now what's interesting is that I try to help them. Now, what I need from them is that they have a full scope of the business side of things, and that's why we are there sometimes. Because as a publisher, a lot of times, I think sometimes publishing, due to the fact of they're not savvy enough on what it all entails. Actually, you know, talking to a publisher, and then the horror stories are in this like, they do nothing and they've left me over, you know, and whatever. But you try to make them aware what part of the music industry are you interested in, where is your talent, and what does it require, you know, to.
So you need them to know what a publisher does. In order to work with them.
Any party you're talking to, or if it's management, it's a label, you should be aware who you're talking to.
You mentioned some horror stories. What kind of horror stories are there about musicians and publishers?
I think publishing, you know, coming from the other side, I was at the label side as well. And I always figured, I'm going to be bluntly honest with this. I was just like, okay, I've been working for 2 years with the band, and we've gone through wars and throwing stuff at each other in the studio, etc. And then we're done, and we got the show, and we're in a Paradiso, sold out. And then in comes a guy or woman I never saw before, and they go like, "What the my artist?" And I was offended. And I was, who the hell is this guy? Yeah, that's my publisher. Where was he all the time? But that was publishing like 5 years ago, you know. Now that's a completely different game. I think the publishers are in a crucial role in igniting sometimes your career as a composer. Yeah.
How do you, as a publisher, what exactly do you do with the artist?
Create opportunities.
What kind of opportunities?
That can be their written songs getting pitched across the board throughout Europe, throughout the world, or you're looking for collabs for them, or you put them in a room with different writers that are not based in Holland, but currently it goes through Zoom or whatever. There's sync involved, you know, for commercials, for things like for movies, etc. You know, so that
put their music in movies.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So that's what you do. When you mentioned pitching.
Well, my colleague does that. I'm not doing that, but that's what the publisher does. And importantly, they take care of all your administration. That's a huge part of it as well. It's important that all your monies, your due, like if you have a hit in airplay and it's being played in, I don't know, South Africa radio, make sure that it's being collected.
Yeah. So working with a publisher is very important before.
I would think so. I think every artist has a publisher and some compassion. Yeah.
You became involved with the academy as well.
Yep.
Why did you do that?
I always felt like we owe it to we give back as well as an industry. And also, I think, because of the fact sometimes when talent comes to me directly, without any knowledge, I think it's helpful that they should know about what they're talking about and what publishing is, again, and try to help them and coach them and stuff they maybe don't know yet, or the possibilities that are there, or sometimes guide them and stuff.
Yeah. Thinking about the music industry, we've heard a lot of horror stories over the years about artists getting screwed over with contracts and stuff like that. When you're working with young talents, it can be very tempting to screw them over with contracts that they don't know how to read. But by giving them advice and by teaching them, it's like shooting yourself in the foot as a publisher, no?
No, I wouldn't think so, because I think in the long run, you're shooting yourself in the foot if you don't. Because I think first of all, I think the talent, they owe it to their art form to know the business side as well. And this goes the other way around as well. What I find interesting is what I always try to say to talent. It's like, hey, publishers or whatever labels can be a bit like, okay, show us what you got. But you're entitled as well from your art form, like, yeah, sure, what can you provide for me, you know? It's an important thing to realize. And that's the thing that I find important. Talent realizes these kind of things.
What do you want to teach them at the academy from your perspective?
I try to, maybe not teach, I hope to inspire them first and foremost, but I do want to make them aware that ever since the last couple of years, it's more and more evident that you have to be a Jack or Jill of all trades, actually. So yeah, you have a focus in your that's to stay in your lane, referring to Prince, you know, that's what you're doing. But to be able to do this, sometimes you have to know how to engineer or how to mix, or at least a bit, you know.
A Jack of all trades.
Yeah, or Jill.
Or Jill, yeah. Let's talk with one of the other teachers at Wisseloord Academy. After a brief break, we'll talk with Yori, one of the teachers. Hi again, back to Wisseloord Studios Reinvented. Next to me is Yori Olijslagers, one of the teachers at the Wisseloord Academy. Welcome.
Thank you.
Could you please give a brief introduction of yourself?
So I'm Yori. I'm a producer and drummer, and I've been working in music for, I think, 16, 17 years now. And now I'm also teaching at the Wisseloord Academy.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really nice.
How did you first get involved with Wisseloord?
First, I started doing writing sessions for Wisseloord House of Music. And then I started doing more sessions and getting to know Malik as well and all the people around there. And then at some point, Malik asked me to teach as well at the Wisseloord Academy. And that's in
and
short.
Here you are.
Yeah, and here I am.
Nice. How did you? What was the appeal of Wisseloord when you first came to the door?
Well, of course, it's like I think the most legendary studio in the Netherlands. Like when I was a little kid, I saw like videos of like people recording here, like big artists, like live recordings, and then I was like, oh, if I'm ever at the point that I'm like could be able to do something over there or just walk around and see other people work, that was like my child dream as well. And and now I'm working there
and you're teaching.
Yeah.
So you also became involved with those writing sessions. Could you take us into those writing sessions? How does this work out for you as a musician or as an artist?
It's really inspiring because there's like a lot of artists and producers that are like in the pool. I think Malik, you said like over 200, and so I give I tell them like I'm available this date, this date, this date, and then they put a group together, and then you just go in, and I always start with like a little chat, see what's everyone's story, what's on their minds, and then we just sort of ease into like creating something.
What kind of music do you play then?
It depends a little bit. Like the things I do tend to be a bit dark sometimes.
Dark?
Well, sound-wise, not very like.
But is it pop music? Is it classical
pop
music? Is it
yeah,
R&B?
most pop, but like with hip hop influences or pop influences, or like, and it could go from like Billie Eilish kind of vibes to Katy Perry.
Nice. Yeah. What is the difference between Wisseloord Academy and different conservatories from your perspective?
Well, the environment, because I think they're really closing the gap between like school and reality. Like also like people like Erroll that are walking around. That's like head A&R of like one of the biggest publishing companies. But also like all the teachers are like, first of all, I think they inspire me as well. But they're really inspiring to the students. And everyone is like on top of his game as well. So everyone is doing like a lot of work in the business, instead of like some schools you see like teachers have been there like for years and years and years, and they sort of lose touch with what the business is now. And the environment, and they get like, I mean, you get to work on like all the big consoles, you get to use like all the
Top-notch gear,
and you can really get like experienced, and they're focusing on the creative side, the business side, the marketing side.
So it's not only just music.
No, you get I think you get like everything, like the full package. So that once you're done, you're ready to go into the real world. Well, I think
is this only for musicians? Do other people who want to work in the music industry go to the academy as well?
Like I'm teaching the DAW lessons, so the production lessons. But there's also I also spoke to some people that came from like more marketing kind of point. I think there was like one. I spoke with like one student. She really came for the marketing and the business side. I think most people are musicians, but I mean, there's so much to learn, and I think like at this point now where we are, like in the world, it's really important to be like an entrepreneur, and I don't think it doesn't even matter if you're like a musician or not. Like there's so much knowledge that's being taught at the academy that even if you're like starting a bakery, I think it would still be like interesting to to follow some of those classes.
Well, fortunately, we don't have any bakers ready to talk with us about the program, but we have two students who are currently following courses at the Wisseloord Academy. After the break, we're going to talk to two students from the Wisseloord Academy. Welcome back at Wisseloord Studios Reinvented. We have two students here who are following courses at Wisseloord Academy. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's start with you, Brynja. Can you please give us a brief introduction of yourself?
My name is Brynja Mary. I'm 16 years old and I come from Iceland. I am a singer / artist and songwriter, and have been writing with a lot of different people with labels in Sweden, Denmark, Iceland, and a little bit in LA as well.
Nice.
And I actually competed in Iceland's national final for the Eurovision Song Contest this year in February with my own song that I wrote when I was 14. Called In Your Eyes, or Icelandic, Augun Þín. Yeah.
Wonderful. Let's go into more detail later.
Yeah.
Let's first switch to you. Hi, Bart.
Hi.
Welcome. Could you give us a brief introduction of yourself, please?
So my name is Bart. I'm a guitarist. I'm an arranger. I am from the classical. I was educated in the classical department. I'm a classical guitarist, and I've always played a lot of live. And years ago, I started getting into the pop scene and producing our own music at home in our studio. And that's how I ended up here.
Mm-hmm. How did you first hear about Wisseloord Academy?
Well, I think if you're a musician in the Netherlands, then at some point in your career, probably very early, you'll hear about the Wisseloord Studios. It's the biggest studios in the Netherlands, so of course that's something to strive for.
Yeah, and what about the academy?
Well, that's for me it was like a big opportunity to be the first in the first group to be part of that, and to even to be a fly on the wall, like in the Wisseloord studio, and to get to talk with all the people who work there, the technicians, producers, and to immediately learn from them, from Malik, and yeah.
And what about you, coming from Iceland? You've been all over the place, Los Angeles, Sweden.
Yeah.
And then you hear about Wisseloord Academy, and you're one of the first 35 students at 16 years old.
Yeah.
How did you first hear about the academy?
I've always known what I wanted, and that was music, something with music. And then my mom and I were looking for a very professional and like real close to the music industry kind of education for me, because I want nothing else. And then my mom found this academy. Not sure how, but she found it, and I think I couldn't have gone anything better this year for me.
Well, that's a big compliment to the academy, I guess.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. What do you study, as in at the academy? How many days a week do you visit? What kind of courses do you follow?
Well, I live at the academy right now, so I'm there 24/7. But we have Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays, and then
the whole day.
No, we start 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays, and then on Saturdays we're split in groups. So yeah, it depends which group you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we learn everything from songwriting to DAW production, analog of recording, mixing, and also the business side of the industry.
Yeah. What is the biggest eye-opener that you learned at the academy?
Probably, I would say that we're so many different individuals that come here. We love the same thing, but we're so different. Like we have the same hobby and we love music, but we're all so different, and that really inspires me, because I can take some, from each student kind of, really inspires me. So,
yeah. How is it to live at the academy? Because that's quite special, no? You live at your music education at your school.
Yeah, it's very different from like normal life at home with my family. But it's just like music 24/7. I go to my room, and if I want to have a little jam sesh, I just go down and find some people and then go in the studio.
Yeah. Sounds like a dream for a musician.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. What has been the biggest eye-opener for you, Bart?
Biggest eye-opener for me, I think that the Wisseloord Studio is not just a recording studio, but it's actually like it's a hub, and it's just a creative place where you can just grab someone in the hallway, say, hey, let's write together, let's work together, and that is much more like people knowing people and connecting, than that it's just locking yourself up in a studio and trying to write by yourself.
Yeah, so the different inputs that you have from different inspiring musicians. Yeah.
Exactly, a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, all working together, like having the same purpose in mind.
Yeah, because that's what you're saying as well. Eh? It's very inspiring. It's not just the teachers, but it's also fellow students.
Yeah, both. I mean, the teachers also inspire, but also the students.
Yeah. But what's the result of having these people in your vicinity? What was the result? Did you make any songs together that are published?
No, we didn't make any songs together that we published. I released a couple of songs earlier, but not with students. But yeah, what you can use the students for is just connecting and learning from each other. I mean, for example, Brynja has worked with a lot more producers than I have, and there are people who write the best beats but can't read sheet music, and the other way around. So they come from different places, and I think you can learn from that.
Nowadays, a lot of music is written by a variety of people. So you sometimes have 8 songwriters on a single track. Is that something that you recognize from the House of Music? that something that happens there as well?
We're usually like 3 in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's easier if we're not too many, because then there may be too many ideas and it's hard to choose one thing and go with that. But yeah, it's usually like 3, 1 producer and 2 songwriters or an artist.
Yeah. You brought some music along.
Yes.
I'm very keen on hearing this. Let's start with your music, Brynja.
Yeah.
Was the shot in Iceland?
Yes, it was.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us listen to your music.
Yeah,
it sounds amazing.
Thank you so much.
You've also brought some music along.
Exactly.
Let's have a listen to your music part.
Thanks.
Etalages vol met goud en zijde, zandkastelen, parelwitte dozen van smaragd en diamant. Ze zijn zo waardeloos gebleken sinds ik hier met jou zo even achter glas met open ramen weggestroomd.
Was this recorded at Wisseloord?
No, this was recorded at our own studio at home. My girlfriend and me, we have a combo band called Inked.
Okay, there you go. What is the future for you at the Academy? How long is the program?
The program lasts until June next year. And until that time, I try to learn as much as I can and to talk with as many people as I can, and just use all the time and all the material, all the gear I have.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, also just like make a lot of connections with all kinds of different people and also learn as much as I can. Like I'm mostly a songwriter, so I would love to learn more production so I don't always have to rely on a producer, or at least in sessions with a producer, I would know what the producer is doing, so I'm not totally clueless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm listening to you guys, it's not just having great teachers from who know what they're talking about because they work in the music industry, but it's also the talents, the 35 other students, not that many actually, so small groups, but also the opportunities that arise from working with these kind of teachers. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm really looking forward to see what you guys will deliver in the future.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the future with Malik for the studios. What's up ahead after the break? Welcome back at Wisseloord Studios Reinvented. We're here again with Malik, CEO of Wisseloord Studios. Welcome back, Malik.
Yeah, thank you.
Could you give us, and we've heard a lot about the Wisseloord Studios, about the House of Music. We've learned what the students learn at Wisseloord Academy and why they come here and what the daily life looks like at the Academy. Yeah. Could you give us a view into the future? Where is Wisseloord going?
Well, first of all, it's super nice to hear the students talking about the way that they experience it, because we talk a lot together, and I try to make sure that they get a great experience and that they really learn a lot. But to hear them talking now, I'm quite proud of what we reached, like the last couple of years, and to see that they really gain a lot, because that's the first reason why I do this. It's really to help people to make some really cool music and to keep Wiselord alive together with my 2 partners. So we are 3 owners. And that was the first goal, to reanimate this place and build this creative hub and share knowledge. And so, we made it work, so that's great. And for the next couple of years, first, I think we can keep on developing this. So what I said earlier, right now we have 35 students. Next year we aim at about 60 students, and in 2 years maybe 100 students. We are talking now with the Gemeente and also with a couple of investors to build a campus.
Yeah, because Brynja is already staying at Wisseloord.
Now there's few students who live in the studios, and now we are looking to build some lodging and make a campus. A bit on the same kind of model than the Berklee College of Music.
In the United States?
Yeah, in Boston, and we also have some relationship with them. I gave some lessons, some lectures a couple of years ago there, and we also have a lot of interns that come since few years to work in the studio. So in the future we can also make some exchanges with the US, and so the academy is one big part of what we will do in Wiselord, and the House of Music is keeping on developing. We already have quite some brands that like to connect and come to look for songs. And the more people like to join, and the better it is.
You already mentioned before that because of the artists that you work with, they do more than just make music for a brand or a commercial or a movie. They also can get involved with, for example, promotion. What kind of opportunities make you different as a publisher, as a music production company than other companies like that?
No, I think that the fact that for example, with the media music, the main difference is that the people really make music for themselves. So it's not fast food music, especially made for media. It's really artists and songwriters that really try to be close to their guts when they are creating. And we hear quite often from brands that the load of the creative aspect of the music is quite well put together. So it's not music that we make for media, like as a gig to make some money. It's really music made for art and supporting a brand as well.
So this is what you're going to focus on for the next years: House of Music, developing, and
the academy. And of course we still have the recordings. I mean, every artist of the Netherlands still come to record in the studios, and all this is
so it's still possible as a Dutch artist to
book the studio,
to record your new album there.
Of course we still from Ilse de Lange to Kensington to I don't know, Anouk is going to come soon. Many people record there. Kinderen for Kinderen, all over the place, even the hip-hop artists, Ronnie Flex, I don't know. But next to this, we also develop talent and produce content in that total hub. That's it.
The House of Music.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to the future of Wisseloord House of Music. Thank you for your time.
No, thanks
explanation.
For inviting me.
I'm looking forward to the future.
No, thanks.
This was Wisseloord Studios Reinvented. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you at Wisseloord.